red haze was the result of thick dust that came from the western parts of New South Wales and the adjacent areas of South Australia late yesterday. That dust was whipped up by gale force winds. The areas around White Cliffs, Broken Hill, Tibooburra, all reported mean winds of around 65 kilometres an hour, with gusts up to 90 kilometres an hour for a few hours yesterday afternoon. And those winds in that very dry area whipped up a huge dust cloud, and that dust cloud was transported across New South Wales overnight, reaching the Sydney area around 3 o'clock this morning. The fact that with the low sun angle first thing in the morning, it's a bit like the angle of the sun. At sunset you see a reddish tinge in the sky, and so it was just really the changing angle of the sun. As it got higher in the sky, the colour of the dust cloud changed.
The climatic conditions today in Sydney are unique. We very rarely see conditions like this, particularly due to dust storms. We've previously had some times when we have had moderate dust pollution from strong westerlies, but I think waking up to a morning like today with red dust on our doorsteps, and the moment we step out actually tasting it and smelling it is unique. And so although these sorts of dust storms do occur in other parts of the world, we Sydneysiders are not well prepared for them. People with normal and healthy lungs will still experience some degree of irritation from the dust in the atmosphere today. So simple irritant effects such as grittiness in the eyes, watering of the eyes, increased nasal secretions. People will notice that they have discoloured secretion from their noses, for instance, with a reddish colour in it from the dust, throat clearing, and perhaps a feeling that there's something in their throats. They can taste something, even feel a texture to the air that they're not accustomed to feeling. But people with completely healthy lungs would not normally experience chest tightness and wheezing. Those symptoms are unique to people who have airways diseases such as asthma and COPD. I would encourage people not to go outside if they can avoid it. That's the most useful thing to do, because the indoor atmosphere, as long as it hasn't been exposed to the outside through open windows, for instance, or large vents, is much more likely to be not dust-free, but certainly to have reduced amounts of dust in it and to be less irritating, even to people with healthy lungs. People with abnormal lungs should certainly try to stay indoors if they possibly can.
Now, currently, it's a grey pall that's over the city, and that's because the sun is pretty well directly overhead right now, and so we're seeing it reflected from a different angle. Dust storms in themselves are not that uncommon across New South Wales. We see them fairly regularly, but what we don't see is dust this thick make it across to the coast, and we don't see such a huge area of the state enveloped in dust like we have today. More than half the state at midday today is really still under this cloud, and the dust is starting to spread north and east and is likely to affect parts of Queensland as well in the next 24 hours. So the edge of the dust cloud will pass across the coast, including Sydney, later on today, and while it'll still be hazy tomorrow, we won't be completely clear, but we'll certainly see a return to sunshine tomorrow.
Long-term impacts from exposures like today would be most likely experienced in the very medium term. So we'd only be talking about perhaps the next few days, where people who have been outside today and who do have, say, asthma or COPD might notice that their airways are a bit more irritable in the next few days, that they're a bit more prone to wheezing or breathlessness. And certainly, if they are, again, they need to be really conscientious about their preventer medications and carrying their reliever medications with them at all times and everywhere.